Hey guys, today we're going to be solving by factoring. And what that means is we're going to be using Desmos a lot, pretty much. So let's read our state requirement. Solve quadratic equations having real solutions. Real solutions just means it crosses the x-axis. By factoring, taking square roots, completing the square, and applying the quadratic formula. So this year, due to COVID and virtual learning, we did not teach you taking square roots. We did not teach completing the square, and we did not teach the quadratic formula. All we taught was factoring. But we know how to solve by graphing and solve by factoring. So as long as you know solve by graphing, you can answer all of the questions regarding the other methods. So not to freak anybody out. When we solve, we want to look on the graph where the parabola / quadratic crosses the x-axis. Those are called solutions, zeros, x-intercepts, and roots, but we usually don't use the word root in Algebra 1. The star can use any of those words to represent x-intercepts. Another common word they like to say is solutions. So for number 1, we're going to solve by factoring. And when we solve by factoring, we're going to get it all on one side of the equation. So all I'm going to do is add 16 to this side. Now I'm going to draw my x, and I know that 1 times 16 is 16. And then the middle number is 10. So what multiplies to 16 and adds to 10? Well, 1 times 16 is 16. 2 times 8 is 16. 4 times 4 is 16. So I can see that 2 and 8 are the magic numbers. So when we factor, I would say x plus 2 and x plus 8. Now, in order to solve, I have to find the value of x. So what value of this number when I add 2 equals 0? What value when I add 2 equals 0? Same for this number. What value when I add 8 would make 0? So you've been taught how to solve equations by doing the opposite. One answer is 2, and do the opposite. One answer is -8. And I could have also found that out by just typing in x to the power plus 10x plus 16. Oops, I forgot to put negative. -2, sorry, it's right there, I forgot. So -2 and -8. And if you wanted to type it in like it says, you would have to type it in y equals -16. And the answer would be -2 and -8. So then on question number 2, we have x squared minus 18x equals 0. So this would be greatest common factor. On the greatest common factor is what goes into x squared and minus 18x. I know that x squared is made of x times x, and -18x has only one x. So I can only circle one x from each of those groups. So my greatest common factor becomes x times x minus 18. Now, to solve that, I said each of these equal to 0. So there's an imaginary parenthesis there. I take that parenthesis and set it equal to 0. And we already have the parenthesis here. I take that parenthesis and set it equal to 0. So again, what value when I minus 18 equals 0? And remember, we always do the opposite. So x equals 18 and x equals 0. And if I was to type that into the I should get the exact same answers. One answer is 0 and the other answer is 18. Notice that both y coordinates are always 0 because that's the only way you're sitting on the x-axis, is when the y value is 0. Okay, so that's solving by factoring. You need to use your parentheses. Sometimes you'll have to draw your x and fill it in. But remember, if you forget how to factor, type it into Desmos and let Desmos show you where the x-intercepts are. Okay, now real quick, solving by the quadratic formula, it says x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. Remember, x represents the solutions where they cross the x-axis. So in this quadratic, and I can type it in right here, 3x squared plus 8x plus 18 doesn't cross the x-axis. That means there's no solutions. It doesn't cross the x-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and make that a minus 18 because I think that that was a typo originally. So we'll make that a minus 18. That way we do have solutions. So remember, the number next to x squared is a, the number next to x is b, and the number by itself is c. And you literally just fill in those numbers. Negative 8, 8, 3, and 3. And I've had to memorize this, so don't freak out. Remember, they're going to give this to you on the star. You literally take the A, B, and the C and replace the B's, A's, and the C's in the formula with the numbers for A, B, and C. It says we can type it into Desmos. So negative 8, we'll do 1 with a plus. Then we can hit the square root of 8 to the power of 2 minus 4 times A times C, okay, all divided by oopsies, go back. Let's put this in a parenthesis and let's open it up. Yeah, so this is pretty challenging when you've never done this before to put this into Desmos. And notice one of the answers is 1.45. Notice one of the answers is 1.45. I did all that work when I could literally just type it into the Desmos and look at it and press the x-intercept. Now, I can also copy this, paste it, change the plus sign to a minus sign, and that's how I get my other answer right there. That does take a lot of work when you could have easily just typed that in and there's the answers right there. All right, so let's scroll down to this page. We have 2x squared plus 10x equals, and I think that's supposed to say negative 16. So when I look, I don't see anything. So maybe it wasn't supposed to say that. Oh, it won't let us type questions with an equals 16. I'm going to have to add the 16. Remember, it won't allow us to type things into Desmos unless it's set equal to 0. So now I get 2x squared plus 10x plus 16. And I'm going to zoom in because I need to find the x-intercepts. And you guys can see that it doesn't touch the x-axis, so you will conclude no solutions. Solve by graphing. That's the easiest. Type it in, look at the graph. If there's something there, touch it with your finger. If there's not, write no solution. When you're given a graph, and that's 5, we just count the lines. So this one crosses perfectly at -3. And then this one looks like it's at a number between 2 and 3. So I'll go 2.5. Remember, this is multiple choice, and it will have the answer that you need to select. For this question, we're going to type it into Desmos. It's set equal to 0. I can type it into Desmos. And I can see right here, it does touch the x-axis at +2. On this last one, it's not equal to 0. I need to rewrite it. I'm just going to write x plus 5 squared minus 16. And now that equals 0. And now I can type that into Desmos. I can see that it crosses at -9 and at -1. And I have just found the solutions to this quadratic. Thanks for watching.